this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friend, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. Thank you for my life, Spirit. Thank you for my life. Thank you for my life, Spirit. Thank you for my life. My glorious, my glorious, my glorious life. My glorious, my glorious, my glorious life. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day.
All right, I'd like to introduce our musicians to you this morning. We have our wonderful, fabulous band. We have Ed Cusby on guitar, Bill Dixon on bass, David Page on drums, our song leaders Wade and Kimberly Wooldridge. I'm Diane King-Dan over here at the keys, and our soloist this morning is the fabulous, wonderful Michael Paul Smith. So glad to have him with us again. Now it's your turn to stand on up, stretch those legs, and sing another song with us. And this is a Ricky Byers tune called Holy, Holy Way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me know that love is all around.
Let me know that love is all around.
Oh, let my steps reveal a path of peace.
Let my steps reveal a path of peace.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me learn from all the ways I've fallen.
Let me learn from all the ways I've gone.
Oh, let me know that love can heal us all.
Let me know that love can heal us all.
Oh, let me share the good that's overflowing.
Let me share the good that's overflowing.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. And now it's time to go and meet and greet your neighbors. And work your way on back because we got more singing to do. And this verse is with serve. Let me serve. Here we go.
Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me care for those around the world.
Let me care for those around the world.
Oh, let me talk each day a little kinder.
Let me talk each day a little kinder. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy Let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Please be seated. Good morning, beautiful center. I'm Carla Schrotus, one of the staff ministers here at our center. And we would just like to thank you. Thank you for the blessing of your presence here this morning. It's here on Sundays that we get to celebrate not only the music, the message, but the fellowship of each other. So welcome. And if you join me now in consciousness for the lighting of the flames. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all people and faiths, all sentient beings, come from one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to the truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light the candle of the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle of the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and the practices of the indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths, the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest call. We light the candle of universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and of peace. We light the candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And as Dr. Jeannie Townshell lights the last candle, let it represent the path that brought you here this morning. I invite you now to join me in our centering prayer. And as I quiet the mind and rest the body, I recognize that God is and I am. God is, I am. God is that one universal source, that one power that moves through all things. I am part of that source, and it moves and has its being in me. God is that one loving source. I am loved beyond measure. God is my strength. God is my support. I am that strength. I am that support. I recognize that all that God is, I am. I know that each one of us is infinitely loved beyond measure, beyond boundaries. This great gift we call life is moving through us in such a beautiful, loving, giving way. And we can give such great thanks for that. Thank you, God. Thank you for the infinite abundance in this life that you continue to supply for each of us. Thank you for that wholeness that moves through us, as us, bringing us vitalized. Oh, I recognize it is all so good, so very good, and I release it into an infinite law. It's a creative law that expresses itself. It mirrors these words, and it releases into a perfect demonstration made whole for each one of us. And so it is. And I'd like to invite now our practitioner today to give our affirmation, Tony Sparks.
Thank you. Our affirmation is, I am the embodiment of the living God. I am immortal and eternal. I let go of thoughts of dying and focus on living. And so it is. And now together. I am the embodiment of the living God. I am immortal and eternal. I let go of thoughts of dying and focus on living. And so it is.
Thank you, Tony. Now, please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Michael Paul Smith. While Michael's coming up, I'm doing a short commercial. He has, of course, his wonderful CDs out in the lobby for purchase after the service. And he has a new one, which is a Christmas album. So
Yes,
it's called My Grown Up
Thank
Christmas
you so
List.
much. Yeah, my grown-up Christmas list. And I'm also modeling for the jewelry wear in the bookstore today.
Necklace in the basement.
And they make
yes.
wonderful Christmas presents. So if you haven't, stopped in there, and I've been looking for this all over the place. So it's marvelous. So please, I invite you to go and take a look. And they make wonderful Christmas gifts. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Oh, it's gonna be such a bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Bye-bye. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be such a bright, sunshiny day. Oh, it's gonna be such a bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. Such blue skies, they're the bluest skies. They're the bluest skies. Woo! Ow. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, such a bright, sunshiny day. Oh, it's gonna be a bright, such a bright, sunshiny day. Here we go, to the breeze. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. They're the bluest skies, such blue skies. They're the bluest, oh, the bluest skies. Woo, yeah, yeah. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. That's right. I can see all obstacles in my way. Move out of my way. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, such a bright, sunshiny day. Oh, it's gonna be a bright, such a bright, sunshiny day. Woo! Oh, it's gonna be a bright, such a bright, sunshiny day. Yeah. Woo.
Michael Paul Smith. Thank you so much. And now please welcome Reverend Heather Dawn Clark.
Thank you, Michael Paul Smith. We love that song. We don't like its meaning, though. We're so thankful for the cloudy, rainy skies because this is what we have been praying for. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And my message this morning is the eternal self, the eternal soul. And it's not my, although I'm going to personalize it, of course. But before I do, I want to tell you a story. There was a woman who had a near-death experience, and during the near-death experience, she got to talk to God. And God, she said, well, how much longer do I have? Am I, going to be, what's the schedule? Am I going to be a lot longer on earth? And God said, yeah, it looks like you've got another 40 years. So she came out of that near-death experience, and she ordered all sorts of plastic surgery. She had a new face, a new boob, new waist. I mean, everything was done. And she left the hospital and a truck smashed right into her and killed her. She met God at the pearly gates. She said, what? I thought I had another 40 years. And God said, I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you. We know it isn't a true story because we know God always knows us, because it is intimate to us. It is us, in us, through us, and as us. I officiated a memorial service last night, and it was a very complex service. The young man who had passed, it was neither a suicidal death or a reckless living death, and he was 24. And that's way, 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 way too young for most of us. Although what we know is that all of us, our length of time, I mean, we're going to come back again and again and again in one form or another, someplace or other. And it's up to, I don't know where exactly, but I do know that life is eternal. And I do know that there is no beginning, there is no ending, although there are markers, the birth marker and the death marker, but that's only in this lifetime. So I want to show you a video, which I think very aptly shows us almost what we teach here, close to it. It was a video that we played last night as part of the service, and it's words and music is written and sung by a man by the name of Peter Mayer. So Mary, if you're ready, we're going to show the video.
There are 100 billion snowflakes swirling in the cosmic storm, and each one is a galaxy, a billion stars or more. Each star is a million Earths, a giant fiery sun, high up in some sky, maybe shining on someone. Deep inside a snowflake, I am floating quietly. I am infinitesimal, impossible to see. Sitting in my tiny kitchen, in my tiny home, staring out my window at a universe of snow. But my soul is so much bigger than the very tiny me. Reaches out into the snowstorm like a net into the sea. Out to all the lovely places where my body cannot go. I touch that beauty and embrace it in the bosom of my soul. And so brief and fleeting is this tiny life of mine, like a single quarter note in the march of time. But my soul is like the music, it goes back to ancient days, before it wore a human face, long before it bore my name. 'Cause my soul is so much older than the evanescent me. It can describe the dawn of time like a childhood memory. It is a spark that was begotten of the darkness long ago. What my body has forgotten, I remember in my soul. So we live this life together, a giant soul and tiny me, one resembling forever, one like smoke upon the breeze, one the deep abiding ocean, one a sudden flashing wave, and counting galaxies like snowflakes, I would swear we were the same. Oh, my soul belongs to beauty, takes me up to lofty heights, teaches sacred stories too, sanctifies my tiny life, lays a bridge across the ages, melts the boundaries of my bones, paints a bold eternal face on this passing moment. Oh, my soul.
So it seems that we are tiny because we don't remember that we're inseparable from the soul. We're inseparable from the truth of who we are, which is 14 billion years old. Our DNA is 14 billion years old. We've been here however many years we are alive now, but we're greater than that. We're greater than this body. We're greater than any of our struggles, our problems, our concerns. We are the magnificence of life itself. So, but yes, life, especially when someone has passed, is like a brief candle, like it's just barely here and then it's gone. And when Jesus was asked by his disciples about God and death, he answered, God is not a God of death, but of life. Of life. And so for us to remember that regardless of what happens next, and there's certain to be something, what makes the difference is what we do now. What makes the difference is how are we now? How are we living now? What is our life? Are we expressing the qualities of God, of joy, of love, of wholeness, of beauty? Or are we putting that off for a greater later? And if we are, that's a mistake. There is no greater later. This is it. We create our own heaven now, and you sure as heck know that we create our own hell because you've lived it, right? I've lived it. I know. And it's those times when we forget who we are, when we think that we're poor or lonely or somehow betrayed or abandoned. That's hell. It's created here in our minds, here in our hearts. And just as easily, we could have a new idea. We could have a new idea about who we are and what life is all about. The young woman who was the sister of the deceased, I'm telling you, this family was very courageous. Both mom spoke, dad spoke, and the daughter sang an amazing song called My Story. Was I looked it up later. It's a beautiful song about these lines on my face represent where I've come from, everything I've done, how I got here. In other words, we wear our story on through our expressions on our faces, etc. Very, very beautiful and quite amazing how they could each do that. Ernest Holmes had quite a bit to say. This, by the way, this whole theme was written by Karen Fry, who's the assistant minister in Dallas. She's also the wife of Petra, who is the senior minister in Dallas. And she has some great things, wonderful woman. But this comes from, we believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. So let me say that again. We believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. So that seemingly tiny self? No. Because we believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of that soul. That soul that takes form as this body, that soul. So Ernest Holmes on page 385 of the textbook says this, and I often quote it in a memorial service: nature will not let us stay in any one place too long. She will let us stay just long enough to gather the experience necessary to the unfolding and advancement of the soul. This is a wise provision, for should we stay here too long, we would become too set, too rigid, too inflexible. Nature demands the change in order that we may advance. When the change comes, we should welcome it with a smile on our lips and a song in the heart. With a smile on the lips and a song in the heart. I've actually been with many people as they've made their transition from this life to the next, and every single one of them is different. So I've seen people struggling right for their last breath, and it's a really not great way to go past, but it was their way. I've seen people that pass so quietly, so sweetly, that we didn't even know for sure, because it was just like the breath got less and less and less, and it was gone. So I've seen both extremes. Karen Fry tells about wanting to be present at that passing, wanting to experience it. And so she had an old elderly cat, and she told the cat that she really would like this, that when it's his time to go, she would really like to be there. So anyway, she was working at home this one day, which she didn't usually do, and her cat came out from the patio, and she could tell he was having trouble breathing. So, and seemed to have difficulty with his heart. So she immediately took him to the vet. And the vet acknowledged that he was in very, very bad shape and was probably going to pass soon. She asked, is he in pain? And the vet said, most certainly he is in a tremendous amount of pain. So she knew that the best thing would be for the cat to make his transition. And many of you know that I assisted my cat to make her transition by calling Dr. What's his name? Brady? Anyway, a veterinarian who's wonderful, big guy like this, and is so gentle. He's like just the kindest guy. Anyway, so she made the decision right there and then that she would have the doctor euthanize her cat. But when he went out to get the things ready, she said to her cat, the doctor is about to do this, but if you want to leave on your own, it's okay with me for you to go. And she said then the most amazing thing happened. The whole room was filled with light and energy. It was like something was happening, and it lasted until the doctor walked back in the room, and then it went, and there her dead cat was in her arms. And that was dying. That was dying. That's what it was. This explosion of energy, of light, of beauty, of wholeness, and it didn't need to be euthanized. All the cat needed was her permission. It's okay with me if you go. I know that that's true with some people as well, and with some not so much, because we're unique individuals. And as my good friend told me when I couldn't get a word out of my mother what she believed about life after death, she said, it's none of your business. Okay. It's her life, right? It's her life. On this thing, in the book, This Thing Called You, which is one of Ernest's newer books, he writes this: the soul is the one triumphant, indestructible, and unconquerable thing you possess. Shot from the invisible into this experience, it constitutes your great reality. But why wait for physical death to enjoy and experience your immortal being? Why wait for physical death to enjoy and experience your immortal being? Do not prepare to die, prepare to live. Whether you are 10 years old or 100, there is no death. It is impossible for you to die. Stop trying to die and learn to live. Wow. Stop trying to die and learn to live. Have we learned to live? Are we fully participating in our own lives? You know, it's not a spectator sport. It is not a spectator sport. Anita Moorjani has a beautiful book called Dying to Be Me. And Anita Moorjani was, she was hours away from death. She was in a coma on the morning of February 2nd, 2006. She was unable to move as a result of a cancer that had ravaged her body for almost 4 years. Stage 4 lymphoma. She couldn't walk. Her body couldn't absorb the nutrients from food. There were lesions all over her body from cancer. All the organs had stopped working. She went into a coma. The doctors didn't expect her to live through the night. She had a near-death experience. 5 weeks after entering the hospital, she walked out on her own. No sign of cancer anywhere in her body. Since walking out of the hospital, she has lived every moment of her life fully, wholeheartedly, and without any fear of dying. She is living. And here's one of the things she says. There I was without my body or any of my physical traits. Yet me, pure essence, continued to exist. And it was not a reduced element of my whole self. In fact, it felt far greater and more intense and expansive than my physical being. Magnificent, in fact. I felt eternal, as if I'd always existed and always would, without beginning or end. I was filled with the knowledge that I was simply magnificent. Thanksgiving Eve, we shared what we were grateful for. And Mary Brogdon shared she was grateful that in this center she learned to love herself. Such an important thing. Because if we don't learn to love ourselves, anything that we attempt to give someone else is just fraudulent. Because we cannot give from what we do not have. Self-love is extremely important. So Anita went on to say, I became aware that we are all connected. There is not only every person, every living creature, but the interwoven unification felt as though it were expanding outward to include everything in the universe, every human, animal, plant, insect, mountain, sea, inanimate object, and the cosmos. I realize that the entire universe is alive and infused with consciousness, encompassing all of life and nature. Everything belongs to the infinite wisdom, to the infinite whole. I was intricately, inseparably enmeshed with all of life. We're all facets of that unity. We're all one. And each one of us has an effect on the collective whole. We're all part of this wholeness. And each one of us is an important part, and each one of us has an effect on the whole. We have an effect on each other. We're here on purpose. We're here on purpose, not just in this lifetime at this time, but we're here in this community on purpose so that we can experience the greatness, the goodness, the wholeness of each other, can stand for each other's well-being. So when she said we know that all things are connected, this Wednesday's wisdom, we're going to have prayers for Earth, and the children are invited to come in as well as the adults. I know the announcements, we're going to tell you some of this, but it's because we're all connected. It's because we're one with this planet, with the rain, with the water, with the plants, and with each other and all beings. And we cannot afford to, as Holmes says on my favorite quote, we cannot afford to hold anything against anyone. We cannot afford to do that because the God of love cannot hear the prayer of the one who fails to love, is the rest of the quote. So if I want something in my life, if I want connection in my life, if I want more prosperity in my life, if I want more fun in my life, and I pray that I better be loving, I better be cleaned up, I better have done all my forgiveness work, forgiven myself and others, because the God of love cannot hear the prayer of the one who fails to love. So simple. It's so simple. Okay. So a long time ago when I used to live in Canada, which was now 23 years ago, there was a song that I really loved. And it was written by, I think probably, I know the Michel Legrand, Canadian, right? And Anne Mortifee. I don't know if you've even heard of Anne Mortifee, but it's called, and I copied it because I wanted to quote it. Well, I might have to just quote some from memory. It's called Born to Live. You're born to live, not just survive. You're born to love, to be alive. The song goes on to say that everything is part of what we're born to experience. To have light and dark, pain and joy, everything. To be alive is to taste it all, to taste it all. And we can only do that if we're willing to be fully participating in our own lives. Out of, first of all, loving ourselves. Saying, yes, I matter. My life matters. And I am here to make the difference. You are here to make the difference. The wonderful philosopher Khalil Gibran wrote this in The Prophet: "You are not enclosed within your bodies, nor confined to houses or fields. That which you are dwells above the mountain and roves with the wind. It is not a thing that crawls into the sun for warmth or digs holes into darkness for safety, but a thing free, a spirit that envelops the earth and moves the ether." So this life is all about learning who we are, practicing from that place of knowing that what we think about comes about, what we plant in our field of dreams becomes either our garden or our jungle. So whatever it is that you're planting, watch the thoughts, watch your feelings, because the ones that are connected with your thoughts are going to produce something. I'm taking this, Reverend Patty and I are teaching this course, Financial Peace University, and it really, it is only hinting at the things that I'm practicing, but it's teaching to be responsible with money, to not spend more than you have, to have wise use of credit. And in fact, he says no credit at all. Stop all the credit, stop charging anything, start living your life on cash basis only. Well, I've never done that. In fact, I've never had a budget up until now. Now I've had one for 4 weeks. It's a challenge. But it's a good challenge. It's a great challenge. And part of that is I decided that this year I would not exchange, I would not give Christmas gifts or holiday gifts to people that I normally give to. And I told the board this. I said, so please support me in keeping to my budget by not giving me anything, because knowing me, I'll feel obligated, very codependent. I'll feel obligated to return the favor and give you something back. But instead, I will give a certain amount of money, which I will budget, to some of our wonderful charities. We have a couple that I'm going to give to. One, we have South County Outreach, which is collecting things for the homeless, like socks. And I just saw something on the internet the other day about how important socks are because they wear out in shoes. And so I'm going to have half of my money is going to socks, and the other half is going to Heifer International. And Heifer International is an organization that gives things that are sustainable and help people learn to care for themselves. So they give geese or ducks or goats or water buffaloes, or the kinds of things that are sustainable. Now, wow, I could be part of that. So I'm going to do that. And the board thought it was such a good idea that they agreed they weren't going to pressure me by giving me something, but they would participate in this. And I want to make it open to anyone here that wants to do it, because what a wonderful feeling of freedom that I'm only going to spend what I budgeted, and I'm spending it on something that's truly going to make a difference. So if you want to do that, if you want to play, just let me know. If you're going to give a check, let me know what it's for, because we have some other things that you might want to play with as well. You'll hear about them later in the announcements. What a wonderful way to fully participate in your own life, to take charge of it, and to say, yes, I am the one who makes a difference. Your life matters. Each life matters. And your soul, my soul, is eternal and immortal and continues forever and ever. And so it is. Okay, and so we're going to, Diane's going to take us into the prayer time. And if anyone has a specific request, just right now, if you could just shout it out. Otherwise, I feel positive I'll include you. Wholeness, absolutely. Health, water protection. Okay, that's it. That's as much time as you get, because Diane's going to lead us in.
Spirit am I, free of all limits, safe and loved and whole. Spirit am I, free to forgive and free to love the world. Spirit am I, Spirit am I, free of all limits, safe and loved and whole. Spirit am I, free to forgive and free to love the world. Spirit am I, Spirit am I, Spirit am I.
In this holy moment of now, I remind myself that thing that I am, the spirit that I am, is eternal and immortal and continues forever and ever. I remind myself that I am one with this presence that is the Alpha and the Omega, that without beginning, without end, that which is first cause to everything visible and invisible. I am one with that one right here, right now. And so I speak my word in the first person for everyone here, for anyone who is listening, for each loved one. So knowing that the I am in you says yes to whatever it is that you desire. And this is what I know. I know that first and foremost, I'm vitally alive, fully conscious, that my body is an expression of the divine and is filled with energy and aliveness. It is wholeness. My nature is perfect health, vitality and energy, agelessness. I decide to live more fully right now than ever before, to live fully participating in life, to live knowing that the I am that I am is that first cause of all. I declare a body that is free from any kind of ailment, disease, or restriction of any kind, but rather a disease that is a body that is free of disease and is filled with light, filled with energy and power and strength, flexibility and wholeness. I speak this word for the prosperity of each one, that prospering power is the power of life itself, and it is simply saying yes to every impress made upon it. So I say yes to an expanded consciousness of prosperity, expanded consciousness of wealth and well-being, an expanded consciousness of the I am within me that is the first cause to all creation. I speak this word for love and connection, that those beings that are brought together by that divine spirit that is God within is that which is always knowing, supporting, and uplifting, showing the way. I speak this word for creative expression, that whatever is the passion, whatever is the natural ability, is the action and activity of the I am. And so I give my gifts with freedom and with love. I know that I'm richly compensated because that is the nature of the divine. I know I have plenty of everything, including time. There is time enough for all of God's gifts to be enjoyed, to be savored, to be experienced. And so I know that creative expression shows up as hobbies, shows up as my right work, shows up as all good things. And what's more, I speak this word for the planet, that this is a healthy planet and we care for this planet with love. We know that all is protected, is guided, is embraced. The waters are protected, and the clean water is a gift from the universe to each one. I know that this is already so, and I know that any other desires of anyone's hearts are also satisfied by means of this moment, that in this vibration of now, there is a knowingness of the divine that all is well in my life. All is well in my life. All is well in my soul. And so with great, great gratitude, with gratitude and thanksgiving, I simply place this word in the law of mind. It's now in God's hands, metaphorically. And God says, yes, my beloved, it is complete. And please help me anchor it by saying with me, and so it is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Heather. And now please welcome back Michael Paul Smith.
In the morning of my life, I shall look to the sunrise. In a moment in my life, when the world is new, and the blessings I shall ask is that God will grant me to be brave and strong and true, and to fill the world with love my whole life through. And to fill the world with love, and to fill the world with love, and to fill the world with love, my whole life through. In the noontime of my life, I shall look to the sunshine. At a moment in my life when the sky is blue, and the question I shall ask shall remain unchanging. To be brave and strong and true, and to fill the world with love my whole life through. To fill the world with love, and to fill the world with love, and to fill the world with love, my whole life through. In the evening of my life, I shall look to the sunset. At a moment in my life when the night is due, and the question I shall ask only I can answer. Was I brave and strong and true? And did I fill the world with love my whole life through? Did I fill the world with love? Did I fill the world with love? Did I fill the world with love?
Michael Paul Smith. Bravo.
Wow, that is power. That's vitally alive if I've ever seen it, heard it, or anything. It's now time for us to share our gifts, our tithes, our offerings. And so if the stewards would please come forward. It's still the Thanksgiving week, so you just take whatever you're giving, whether it's a gift or whether it is your love, and just multiply it with gratitude. And repeat after me. Divine love in me.
Divine love in me.
Blesses and multiplies.
Blesses and multiplies
All that I am.
all that I am,
All that I have.
all that I have,
All that I give.
all that I give.
I give with love.
I give with
And I
love,
love to give.
and I love to give.
And so it is.
So it is.
Joy to the world. All right, here we go. And let's welcome those kidlets in.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Everywhere I go, because I don't see them.
Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go,
Here they come.
I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine,
Let it shine.
let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Good morning, everyone. We have something special to share with you today. It's the first Sunday of